Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar today that the PSCI team, Product Supply Chain Improvement Strategy Stream for the IAQG, has prepared. My name is Susan Parsons, and I work for the IAQG, and I also work for specifically on the SCMH website itself, getting all the latest guidance, project teams together, and getting this new material out to you. Since we had a major revision to the SCMH website, whole new format, I thought it would be good to start the series of SCMH webinars with a webinar on the new format and some of the content, some of the progress of the work we're doing recently. We'll have an opportunity at the end to share your questions. I know it's not the best time for some, but this is a global, attendees are coming from around the world. So we've picked the best time slot to allow as many as possible to join in live. And then of course, we'll post this recording and presentation in the SCMH for those that were unable to make it today. So generally speaking, we're going to talk about the IAQG outputs, this SCMH being one of them and what it is, show some examples of the SCMH material and the content along with some of the projects in work, and we will assess the show you accessing the SCMH, the structure, and we'll talk a little bit about other webinars. So generally speaking, the IAQG's output includes the IAQG standards, of course. Many of you are familiar with the 9100, 9110, 9120 series. Products related to the 9102 requirements, first article inspection, variation management, key characteristics. We also deploy support material for some of the IAQG standards, which you find on the IAQG website, and a recognized accreditation system allowing any organization to be certified under these standards 9100, 9110, and 9120. And then we also have supplier improvement guidance materials, which we call the SCMH, and that's why I'm here today to talk to you about that. So the SCMH is a set of guidance materials and tools developed by IAQG subject matter experts. We're trying to help the supply chain improve on time and on quality performance throughout the entire supply chain. It is intended to assist organizations with understanding of IAQG member requirements and how to apply them. It's not intended to be requirements, and therefore it's not auditable unless, of course, a customer specifically requires it. SCMH sections are structured around the standard supply chain processes, which I'll share with you in a minute, and the use of the SCMH guidance does not ensure compliance to any reference QMS standard, but of course it helps. So we've had this slide here for many years now to show how the SCMH is involved within the IAQG process of creating requirements. So you have the 9100 series requirements. Then you have the ones that feed off of that, like first article inspection, non-conformance management, and of course 9145. And then it also includes SCMH guidance materials, so tools and forms and checklists to help you implement those standards. And in some cases, the SCMH has a guidance document, something to the effect like 9145 for APQP, that can set a base for someone to say, well, this is great guidance, let's make it into a standard, and then it feeds back into the 9100. So there's a loop there. So in the handbook, it's provided at no cost. It's available to all levels of the supply chain on the IAQG website. The registering is simple and downloading of the guidance is totally free. The SCMH is continuously updated as changes and improvements are identified. We have a 5-year review of all the documents on there. There's a couple existing today that are a little beyond that because there's major revisions coming to the standard itself. So we're going to align the guidance with that when they are published. And the SCMH is written in English and is generally not translated into other languages, but sometimes people step forward and translate it, and we then publish that for everybody to access. So right now we have some Japanese, Italian, Chinese available, but the English version always remains to the main reference because that's where they are transferred from or translated from. So as I said, we were going to talk a little bit about the new structure. So the supply chain process life cycle, as you can see, the plan and manage going across the top. It transverses across sales, operations, and servicing. Then we have the design and development, the make, which includes assembly and test, buy, deliver, and customer support. And the customer, of course, being the main benefit of that whole supply chain going across the sales, operating, and service module. I'll explain a little bit about each of those now. So without reading into all of the detail, you will get from this presentation a little bit about each of the supply chain processes that I just covered. And overall, the plan and manage section will help manage its management of the company and projects management. So it's transversal across anything that work transfer that might cover all of them, other plan and manage topics, and we'll see that in a little bit on another screen that shows all the content and how it applies. Then there's a design and development section, with the idea being that you design right the first time and support final operators on engineering aspects. The make section, establishing of the production organization, new product, industrial qualifications, and manufacturing. In other words, the person is saying, I always want to produce on quality, on time from the beginning, and I control internal changes. If you can say that, then you're following quite a bit of the, or you have a good understanding of the process of make, as well as process of buy. I have the right suppliers and I adequately manage them. So any topic from the SCMH would fall under these categories, and we would find the best fit for it, of course. Delivery operations, including documents and activities performed at customer sites, protect my product and my customer. Customer support. Operators of the final product are well supported and feedback loops exist. So we try to gather topics based on priority, people asking for more information or different information on various topics. And once we get an interest and enough people to volunteer to help create this guidance from member companies, then we will place that topic within one of these categories and head it with an effort to assist in the users being able to fulfill what we're looking for in each of these categories. So today we have all of these SCMH topics. I'm sorry if it's an eye test, it's quite the list now, it's growing. As you can see, there's no rhyme or reason for a topic being listed here other than it belongs in this category and it was a priority of the SCMH user community or the IAQG member companies. Once a topic is defined, we build the guidance with experts from expert knowledge, members that have the expertise in this topic, and then we place it in the SCMH after it's reviewed and edited and approved. So right now we have quite the list in plan and manage, which of course goes across all of the topics, all of the processes. And then we are building up on the design and development. We have quite a few in make, buy, deliver, and of course customer support. We also have, if you notice the word key KPIs, key performance indicators. These are keywords, and with process details, the details definition for each of the ones listed, and they go under each of these categories. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what we've published since our last meeting in 2021. So this is just to show you some of the recent publications. We've had a new training module added to the statistical product acceptance. That's under 3.7, and if you think about it, 3 is make. So everything under the 3 title, 3.7, 9, and 10 are all under the make module or make process. And we had some product safety awareness materials that were revised and brought to be current. Then 3.10, collection of use of shop floor Gemba input and feedback was revised again. Make sure it's up to date and relevant. Then 6.1, product entry into service, also revised, which is under customer support. And then here's one, this advanced product quality planning. We've added a new template, and that's under the transverse one of, you look back, plan and manage. And then also under plan across the board, 7.8, which is compliance education. We've revised that one as well. Currently, we're working on a few projects: business continuity management, data science and artificial intelligence, design risk analysis, applying remote technologies to audits and product acceptance, which brings in a lot of engineering input, also engineering input into design and risk analysis, and data science. So some of the projects that we're working on are including other functions. It's not just quality, it's coming from design, manufacturing, and so on. Then we've added currently we have competency management, but we've decided to go to a next phase and add some additional guidance and details. So there'll be more material coming out on that. It was just launched in July. We have one called ethics and compliance. It got put on hold because of the team not being able to get together and work due to the COVID situation. And but we're ready to restart, and we may be going out for a few more volunteers to work on that one. And then finally, we just sent a call for volunteers last week for special characteristics definition. There's also topics that get reviewed by the PSCI team. So part of our process is to take the existing guidance and see if it needs an update or maybe a whole new team put together to build on it and align it with current practices. And one of them is the supplier selection and capability assessment. It had a major overhaul to the point where we've renamed it to supply chain maturity model. We want to align it with the new SCMH structures. There's plenty of new topics in it, new questions, and we've added quite a bit of information to it and reporting. So that right now is at the final, it's in the final stages. We're ready to determine how it's going to be published and go on to the next step. Also, configuration management. We've had to realign that with the current 9100, so we have a couple team members making sure it aligns before we can republish that one. And now just to share a few examples from the existing SCMH sections, or topics we call them now, SCMH topics. So we have FOD, foreign object damage. You can see here that there's an actual tool, there's a Word document, there's a presentation for people to understand it, there's questionnaires. So we tried to let the team, in this case, this was written by the 9146 writing team. So the standard writing team got together and said, we need some more guidance to help implement this requirements document. And they've come up with the different presentations and tools and questionnaires, and we were able to then put it into the SCMH. Also, we have the advanced product quality, APQP, 9145 standard. Quite a bit of information in here. Matter of fact, it's undergoing right now a major revision and the standard itself. So it'll impact and the guidance, and then we'll be updating the guidance accordingly. Work transfer management has been, the guidance itself was around for quite a while now, since the start of the SCMH, but we've now had a project team get together and create, we integrated APQP into the process that existed, and we've come up with a chart very similar to the one that was found in APQP to explain the work transfer process, of course integrating the processes and gates of the APQP section with fillable forms at every gate, so that people can really understand now the process and align it with APQP. And then finally, we had first article inspection. Again, a presentation, a Word document with all the details, and a detailed template explaining and the instructions for filling out the 9102B form. A little bit about accessing the SCMH itself. So today, the new site, you see a couple ways to get in there, IAQG.org. Once you're there, you can see the tools, IAQG tools. It has a drop down, SCMH is part of it, or across the top where SCMH is on top. Once you're in that section, you'll be asked to register. You may not be actually asked to register until you try to download something. So you can go in, view, look at everything, but once you download something, then you'll be asked to register. So this page is really to show you that you can just access the SCMH and accept the terms and conditions. Also a new feature, you're not going to be asked to accept the terms and conditions every time you go to the screen. It's one time per day per device now. Once you're in there, you'll be able to either log in or register. Very simple, quick questions like what country are you in? What industry do you work for? What is your intended use of the guidance? It's got some drop-down selections for you to make it easy. How did you hear about it? Are you an IAQG or sector member company? What we've realized is that more than 75% of the people using the SCMH are not IAQG or sector members, meaning that it's gone and spread out into the supply chain, which is what we wanted and what we looked forward to doing by introducing this guidance to the full supply chain, not just those coming to a conference at the IAQG or sector level or being a member through one of the member companies. So that's working very well. And then you'll just email address and you can click on remember me, so that makes it easier for the next time. A little bit about the structure. So in the past we had the tabs going across. It's a familiar website, still the same lifestyle supply chain process life cycle parts, but you can see we just moved the plan and manage to the top. We removed make and sell altogether because we really only had one item in there, which we found it not necessary to carry that piece anymore, and we've embedded it now into the plan and manage. So it's up and running. The new site now looks, like I said, pretty similar, one or two changes, and you can access any of this SCMH topics by clicking right on these arrows, if you will, and it'll take you to the section plan and manage where all the guidance documents are located. I'll come back to this and show it a little bit, depending on how much time we have. This next part of this is to show you that we've changed from just clumping everything into one topic, as we did in the past. We put all the information together. We wanted to kind of share with everybody which are core and which are templates or toolbox type items. So in the main core, we might have the overview of the guidance, in some cases, not all, or we might go straight into just the details, so the main document. And then if that main document then talks about implementing certain templates or wants to share a process document that you can then make your own by adding your own company logos to and so on, those all are features within the toolbox. So questionnaires, things like that. So we've broken it out so you can see the main, you can go right to the main document, kind of get an idea of what's going on. If you want to share the guidance topic with a company member, maybe some executives that you would like to just kind of go over an overview of the topic to see if there's interest in implementing it in your company, then you can do the overview. And then, of course, when you get right down to trying to implement something like this, as far as checking it out and seeing what part of the guidance can help you in your company, you can go to the toolbox and start looking at some of the tools that we've laid out for you, whether it's a checklist or, like I said, a procedure template, and use what would help you on that in implementing it. There's also going to be webinars. As we've revitalized this webinar program now, there's the current ones are APQP, and I'll talk to that in a minute, and they're going to be located right under the main topic for each one, for each SCMH topic. Also, another big improvement is that the SCMH, in the past we might reference a document, but that's it. We just say, go see risk management in another section of the SCMH. Well, now we can have a link that will open in a new box and just open that section that other document. Makes it much more convenient. And I've been told, and I've done it myself, that if you open up the scmh.iaqg.org on your phone, it will look great. It fits the screen now. You don't have to slide right and left and all around and enlarge things. So it's meant for mobile use. Once you're in the SCMH, you see this SCMH topics, or like I said before, all these are clickable. Plan and manage. It will take you to the first page, which is plan and manage. Once you're in plan and manage, these highlighted buttons or these links across are linked to the various sections within the SCMH or modules. And then once you've opened up one, for example, this one that comes right to plan and manage, you'll see things like 7.1, the work transfer management, 7.2, advanced product quality. Click on any of those and it will open up. Advanced product quality and planning, APQP, happens to have quite a few webinars. So the recordings themselves are all up here, but the base presentation document, in case you want to use it for your own use in implementing it, then those are in the toolbox to the right. And like I just spoke of, the core document, the introduction or overview, and the manual itself is on the left, being the core document. So a great way to start this is to look at the overview. And if it's something that the company is going to work with and try to use this guidance, get a good understanding of the manual itself. And from that, you'll be able to see all of the different checklists and templates. There's quite a few. The page is cut off halfway down. It goes it's quite a ways. I think it's down around 18 or 19 documents now. And then if you really want to get into any one of the items, you can go up here and follow along with the experts that panelists that spoke of each of the topics in detail. And we will be building the webinar sections on each of the topics as we produce them. So today we have an SCMH webinar that will probably go up front more towards the about SCMH. And then I think next month I'll tell you what's coming up and where that's going to go. So I think I spoke quite a bit about that already. When there is a new SCMH webinar topic that's going to be introduced, we will place it in the announcement page on the SCMH. So check that once in a while and see what's happening. We will also send it out to a newsletter that goes to all the registered SCMH users. So if you spread the word of the SCMH, anybody who becomes a registered member, in other words, somebody that just wants to go in and read a little bit about APQP and they open up one of the documents. Once they've opened up a document, you know they're registered and they will be able to receive notification if they wish to hear about any announcements as far as new webinars and what's coming down the road in the next month or so. So our goal is to do about 3 to 4 by the end of this year, and we'll see how many and how well received they are. And then next year we'll plan a few more, at least 3 to 4, maybe more, depending on what the people are saying about the webinars. And if they're found to be useful, then we'll continue them and add to it. And it can also be based on input from the user community. There's a function, and I'll show it to you, for contacting us that we will discuss a bit. And say you've decided that it's a hot topic to you and you want some guidance on it, you can put it in there. But also if a guidance document exists and you'd like to hear from experts, you can ask that the IAQG or PSCI team consider that topic as the next SCMH webinar. So the recordings are all stored here. Presentation materials are stored down in the toolbox. And currently the main one we have is Plan and Manage. And that's mainly because we removed quite a few of our past webinars as they no longer aligned with the current materials. We updated the materials, but we didn't hold a webinar again yet. Once we do, we'll add that back. So if you want to learn more about the SCMH, I'm just going to give you a couple places. A good place to start is the About SCMH page. We have a communication pack. It's in a couple languages. It tells you why the SCMH, a lot of the information I shared with you today. There's also a SCMH topics listing by alphabet. In this case, it might be numbers now. We have to check on that. It should be still alphabetical listing, as we've recently re-added the numbering system back to it to help the user community identify which topics they wanted to flow to others. So the other piece is the SCMH topics itself, what's new. When something gets revised, it'll go to the what's new page. So you click on the what's new and you'll see what was revised in the last couple months and so on. Also the search, SCMH search feature, we've improved it now instead of just popping up the different topics with the word in it. So if you typed in risk, you might see the different SCMH topics that have the word risk in it. But now you're going to have a much more detailed list. It will show you everything that speaks to risk in the SCMH, and it'll tell you where they are, and you can click on it and it'll take you to that area. So a good place to start if you wanted to explain to somebody what the SCMH is about and maybe get a heads up on communications to others or what's in it. This button here, it says contact us, but if you think about it, you know, I'm the support person on the other end of that contact SCMH. If you if you click on that, you'll get straight to me and you might say something, maybe you found a typo. I'm more than happy to receive those kinds of information. If there's something mistyped or not clear, let me know. The next time we revise it, we will fix it. If it's something I can fix right away, I will. Also, if there's a topic that you think that the SCMH users would benefit from, you know, the more people that request that topic, the more it becomes a priority. And when we review all of the contact feedback, we will we also use it to help determine like next year's project. So if we're going to add 4 or 5 projects to the SCMH next year, we'll say, hey, there's quite a pull for this particular topic and we should do it. That's one way of getting your voice heard. And as I said, another one is if you feel that the SCMH user community or the supply chain itself, you know, any member or any company within the supply chain that you work with would benefit from hearing about, say, work transfer management, then the more we hear about that, the happier we are to then develop a webinar that we can publish and invite people to. So with that said, and I should have said this at the beginning, we have a Q&A box to the right of your screen where you can add any question that you have, and I would be happy to answer it. So I'm going to give it a minute now to see if there's any questions popping up. And if you have any, please ask now, and we'll go right into a little bit of our live Q&A portion of this. So a couple people have asked, will we send out the presentations? We are going to upload the presentation to the SCMH website. This specific one will probably go right under the About SCMH since it covers all of the topics and not just one. And yes, it's going to be recorded. So that recording will also be placed in the same spot. And again, if you can't find something, you just click on the search feature. And once you've done that, you could type in webinar or a specific topic and see what happens. Oop, they're flashing through, so I'm trying to keep up. Is there a plan to address cybersecurity? Good topic, and I have heard it discussed in the past, and I would highly recommend those people interested in that to go into click on the contact us or contact SCMH and show your interest. So the more people that ask for something like that, the more people I can get interested in creating a project team and then developing some guidance around that. Will the certificate of participation available for auditors, lead auditors, be available. We're not a training, we're just making you aware of what exists. So no, we don't give out certificates. We've discussed something like that in training in the future, but as of right now, we don't do that. Something you're interested in and you want to get your point of view heard, again, use that contact SCMH. Do IAQG offer other training in addition to the webinars and online documents? There is other training now. We've just started a new under the IAQG website, the different tools. One of the tools is AIM, and I would ask that you go that way to look at some of that. Also under deployment support material for 9100, there's some guidance there as well. But regarding the SCMH, so you would have to search on the main IAQG site, see what's available. As far as the SCMH goes, we don't have it right now, but we're definitely talking about how we can broaden that training that we offer. So the more people tell us or request it, the more we're up to push that and see what we can do. We actually have it as one of our tactical objectives to discuss further and how we can do additional training on guidance and such and offer that. So I think it's a compliment. I'm just going to read it. I think in general the presents and documentation are excellent and can be tailored to individual organizations, but I'm now looking to roll out some topics, if not most, to teach leaders within our organization. So yeah, if there's an organization and you've got a word that is brand new and want to know what's going on with that, come here, hit the search feature, see what we have there, and maybe you'll be surprised to find that there's guidance in several different topics on the specific subject that you're looking for. And like I said, there should be overviews and awareness documents for quite a few of them. If not, that means that the main material contains it within it. This is not the first time I've seen it. They're asking about, would you have anything on management reviews and perhaps a template? That is one of the training things we're talking about. How can we support the 9100 group or team in an effort to give guidance on specific pieces? And I'll go back to work transfer again. That was one of the items where the work transfer document, it's a requirement, but it didn't have quite the detail people needed to understand what was meant. So we created guidance to help those implement a program that would help meet that requirement within 9100. So yes, we don't have management reviews today. It is something that would be interesting to many. So again, I would definitely go into the contact us area and add that you are in favor of seeing something like that. Yes, the presentations will be available for viewing afterwards, as I said. I'm not sure, you might want to clarify what you mean here. Is there any way to download the entire formulas? If you're meaning the entire SCMH, it's print piece by piece right now. And that is because we've changed it constantly, add things to it. And it would be, there's a lot of interactive documents and presentations in PowerPoint. I think it's about 2 stacks, 2 feet high right now if you had to print the whole thing. It says, will CBs be required to train their auditors in this? No one's required to train anybody in this. This is guidance material that we share with our user community, meaning anybody who's registered to come take a look at some of the guidance. And what they do with it after that is something that they want to do within their own companies to improve a process or add a new process. So we provide the templates, guidance, any tools that we can, come up with to that company. but no one is required to train somebody to this. It's just a benefit to be trained to it. I'm not sure on this question. It says, if I remember correctly, the SCMH tools are recalled. Can we find all the recalled tools or just some at this present? I'm not sure what you mean by that, but nothing is recalled. All the SCMH guidance is available. Once in a while, one or two topics might be removed from the SCMH. I think there's only two, because it's no longer current, and we've developed some better guidance, and maybe pieces of that have gone into the new guidance. So we remove them from the SCMH. You might see like a 3.1, 3.2, and then it goes straight to 3.4, for example. And that means that the guidance is removed because it's no longer current or useful. How much is APQP driving the current changes? Well, it's not driving current changes per se to the SCMH. It is a topic that is very well in demand so people can understand it. And that's why we have the standard writing team, 9145, actually also create the guidance for it. So once they're writing the requirements, you can trust that those same people are working on the guidance and improving the guidance and then sending it to the SCMH for publication. When we reviewed the work transfer one, for example, we saw some benefit of using the tools within APQP to improve that guidance document, and that's why it was done. So a couple of the 9145 writers from the writing team went over and helped support the work transfer guidance team, and added their input and helped them realize where they could improve the process by using some of the APQP tools. So if you say, is it driving current changes? Only if it is useful in another topic, yes. If it's not, then it wouldn't be mentioned again other than in the advanced product quality section. But other areas where maybe risk management or some of the other topics might reference back to the APQP for specific support in a portion of it. And that's how we do that for all of our SCMH topics. In other words, any SCMH topic, we wouldn't reiterate something, we would point to where it's spoken with more detail. Is there a plan to integrate the IAQG SCMH along AESQ? I can't really speak to that. We build the topics, as I said, by priorities from the user community. When someone asks for guidance on something, it's always guidance on a topic that is, well, not always, mainly on a topic that is found within an IAQG requirement. So if the IAQG has a requirement, we provide the guidance to implement those requirements. That's the best I can do to answer that right now. Is this stream recorded? Yes. So it is recorded, and we will put it up live, although I won't be anxious to hear my own voice, but it will be out there. Sorry. Is there guidance on CMMC, cybersecurity? We talked to that a bit. And like I said, go to the contact page and add your wish for that, and we'll see what we can do. And I think it's come up a couple of times in this, so I might add it myself as one of the topics that came up during this webinar. Is there a way to see all of the documents in a single display as opposed to going to each section? No, because it's not a book. It's not a handbook. Even though the SCMH was designed to say supply chain management handbook, it's more of what the words meant than it actually is a book. We don't develop a chapter 1 that leads you to chapter 2 that leads you to chapter 3 and so on. We've developed a place or a structure that allows any guidance topic to just be uploaded into a certain area that makes sense. And as they become published, there's no method to, saying, oh, we better do this one first and this one second. It's as it's published and originated, then we put it up into this section. So there might be a big gap in something under by. Just because we have a couple topics there doesn't mean we've covered every topic. But as others ask for more, if it fits under the by, we'll place it under there. And like I said, there's so much information that you couldn't just put one print button and have it all printed all. We are looking into print functions by topic, but we'd rather keep it available in a way that would allow anybody to look at it without having to print, 2-foot tall stack. But the more people that ask for that, the more we'll have to come up with a way to help satisfy that need. If it becomes a great need and people are wanting something like that, maybe we have to consider that in the future. Just looking through for a few more questions. Does SCMH describe minimum set of 9100 requirements for complying? I wouldn't, other than to say if there's a 9100 requirement, you're required to do it. Now, whether or not we have guidance on it, that's a different piece, but we don't describe minimum sets of requirements for complying. No, that's not the case. As a matter of fact, what we're saying right up front, and we say it on the about page, I believe, even if it says, the requirement is for, and I'll pick on work transfer, you have to have a process for work transfer. Even if you follow all the guidance, we're not saying 100% that you fully meet that requirement, but it does show you a good way or a process and some guidance on how to meet it. So it's all based on us providing additional guidance for something that's a requirement that exists, and not to say that, okay, now you're fully compliant. It's not our intention. People are checking the page on their phone and they're saying it's looking perfect. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad I didn't say that on a day that it wasn't working or something, but I'm glad to hear it. We've had no issues so far. And is there any, are there any toolbox checks for risk management? Let me just show you. Maybe I can go live real quick, see what happens here. Okay. So this is the actual website. New registration here. And I'm just going to show it since somebody's asked about risk. We'll just pop right into it. So we're going, it happens to be under plan and manage. Here's the risk management section. And you asked, there's the core guidance, quite a bit on this one. And then we've got a poster and some case studies. Oop. We get this once a day, the feedback requested, take your survey. So are there any toolbox and checklists for risk management? I think what the answer is that is, there are no checklists. There are some case studies, but we were very happy to look into that. If you want to sign up and hit the contact us and ask specifically what you're looking for, let us know. And of course, even if it's not a new title or a new topic for us to select for creating a project next year, I can still bring that to those that wrote the risk management guidance and said, hey, is there a group of you that would like to work on some sort of checklist? As long as I have the specific details, I'd be happy to do that. Okay. So there are some questions about coordination between the SCMH and the AESQ and the 13,100. I will bring that to the attention to the PSCI team and say that there's interest in understanding that, and we'll see what, if anything, we'll discuss in the SCMH. A lot of thank yous. Are you involved with the Oasis website? It is not the, okay, so no, we are not, but the Oasis site is part of the IAQG. I believe there's some big improvements going on there as well, such that, you know, the SCMH transitioned from the old site to the new. There's work on the Oasis site as well. One says, I am assuming that the SCMH tools can transition into non-aerospace and electronic manufacturing industries. Yes, of course. I mean, I think the railroad industry contacted us and asked if they can use the guidance. Absolutely. They're using it for their companies to help improve, whether it was, I think it was risk management and a couple others that they were highly interested in. So yes, it does go beyond aerospace and electronics, but it was created for the AS&D, aviation, aerospace and defense industry, so that their supply chain can use this and go to it and refer to it and use the guidance to improve their on time and on quality. So this is a good question. What is the process of becoming a member of a working group for reworking or writing new guidance and tools? So I send out a call for volunteers when a new topic comes up, and I send it to all of the IAQG and sector member companies representatives, and any of those members that have attended IAQG and sector meetings. Sector being America's EAQG, AAQG, and then EAQG European, and then the APQP. Sorry. The APAQG, which is the Asia Pacific companies. So they receive it and they look into within their company to see who might have the expertise on the topic and then propose them as a volunteer. Sometimes those are also shared with their supply base because they know of someone in the supply base that might be an expert in it or might have some good insight from a supplier versus a customer perspective, and they can become a member. If you see one that you know that is really of interest of you, like something that I put up on the list or something that might come out next year, and you work with one of those companies, you work for you're a supplier to a member company, you can contact that company and see who their rep is and say, hey, I was wondering if you would like to sponsor me so that I can then work on that. Contact me directly and say that I would like to work on one of the teams. And then I will find out from you which member company you work with and see if there's somebody that you work close enough with that they will sponsor you and allow you to be a part of this team. Main thing is no conflicts of interest and such. So someone is interested in tooling. They're from a society. They're developing documents to keep track of tooling. Could this be something that's developed in the future? And they didn't find anything at this time. So yes, of course. And now I think everybody is probably tired of me saying it, but hit that contact us button or contact SCMH button, and I'll get your information. I'll log it all in. And as we get more people wanting certain things, we'll use that to figure out our next topics. So one says, will you cover topics on quality clinics and 8D? It's more the topic. So 8D is root cause analysis. So you would more or less click on search and type in 8D and see what pops up. But I can tell you that I was on one of those teams. It was one of the first ones. So root cause problem solving took some of the 8Ds, the different ways that different member companies did their root cause and came up with the best of the best, if you will. You know, added things to some and highlighted a benefit of another, and then created the guidance. So that guidance exists today. And I recommend you take a look at that one and see what you think. And if there's some improvements needed or you're maybe interested in a webinar on that topic, again, let us know. Considering risk management, a template model would be very helpful. So I hear you, and I love when I can talk the project teams into creating a template document so that people can add what they need to, but use it as a base structure. So again, see what we have. If it doesn't exist, ask for it. So apart from basic search based on topic, our documents tagged with other words like individual roles, so new users can get easy start. Well, if you click on a topic, it will, if you put in a specific word into the search function, it should find any topic and any guidance document that speaks to that word or contains it. So it's a lot of work. What we are looking for, and we do have the function to do, and it's something we'll do now as we update the guidance document, when people come forward on a specific project team or even somebody within the member community that's decided to dive in a little bit on a topic. As they supply me the keywords within that document, I have a function now that will allow me to populate that document with in the background with those keywords, and then they'll be able to search it, and that will take you to the top. So that document now comes up to the top because they were able to see the search words and the keywords in it. So we are working on that. Is there copyright restrictions regarding using the document on the SCMH website? There is a copyright statement, and it is being reviewed right now. It'll probably be something that it's going to go across all of our IAQG website and all of the documents that it contains. And yes, there are some restrictions, but if you're a member company or if you're a company within the industry and you want to take any of our SCMH guidance, generally speaking, and you want to use it within your company to improve your processes, improve on time, on quality, deliveries, and so on, you can use that guidance. It's free for you to use. You can take it and use it within your company at will. Okay. There are some, of course, some things that if you go to try to sell it, that's not possible. You know, you have to get permission for certain things. So I would say that you can read that information in the terms and conditions. And if you have a question for clarification, then you can send that to me. All right. I think I've gone through as many as I can read on the screen. And unless there's any more questions coming in, I would say that we've completed the SCMH webinar. And I am just looking on the last page. Yep, just leaving it open here just so everybody can see the contact SCMH. It's on every process listed under SCMH guidance topic. So each page has the button. And if you have a specific question, make sure you give us enough detail so I can answer it. You know, make sure you include the topic and so on. But with that, I'd like to thank everybody for attending this first webinar of 2021. And next month on, I believe, October 7th, we will have another webinar on acceptance authority media. And we'll send out an invitation to anybody who is signed up to use the SCMH. So if you know if your supply base, you want to spread the word out that this is maybe something they could consider as topics are discussed at these webinars, and allow people to know about it, that would be appreciated. And of course, with the goal of improving on time, on quality. So have a great day, and thank you for joining us. Hope to see you and others as well at the next webinar in another month. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.